Before we start today's topic, I came across this on Twitter, and for some reason I couldn't stop laughing, so I'll share it with you.
领导放心，国防有我，请祖国放心，强国有我。
This girl, she's the final winner for a speech contest with the theme of thousands of miles of rivers, mountains, and seas. And this is where she said that the party should be comforted knowing that there's someone like me. Now, remember I said that China's not too far from North Korea anymore. Well, it was ridiculed by netizens in the comment section because the performer was too North Korean. And some netizens said, quote, just now I was laughing at North Korea being a private server, but I couldn't laugh anymore. Some other person said Dandong is not too far away. Now, Dandong is the city on the border of North Korea and China. So this video was then taken down. So netizens moved to a different video. This one is an actual North Korean girl, basically doing the same type of speech, right? With the speech tone shifts, and she was praising Kim Jong-un in the same manner. And then everybody in the comments started posting screenshots of that first girl from the speech contest. So thank you, speech girl, for making my day, and I hope this video made you laugh too. All right, let's get on to our topic today. Now, this is the biggest news coming out of Taiwan. Former Taiwanese President Ma Ying-jeou told German media Deutsche Welle reporters to trust Xi Jinping when it comes to Taiwan. The former KMT president says they will never win a war against China, just 3 days before the election on January 13th. And this may have ended the official opposition's chance in the election. Let's talk about why this matters. Welcome to China Insider, I'm Zhang. Now, the number one goal of Xi Jinping is to take Taiwan in his time as the paramount leader. And that's the eternal understanding in the party, whether it is achieved via an invasion or by means of so-called peaceful methods, the goal is the same. But this has, however, been the major point of controversy in this Taiwanese election, pitting the ruling DPP as one agitating the mainland to invade, while the KMT as the so-called peaceful resolution. Now, there are three parties running for this next leadership in the election. The KMT, or the Nationalist Party, they're viewed as pro-China. The DPP, which is viewed as keeping status quo, and the TPP, which is seen as more leaning towards pro-China as well. Now, the polls show that the Taiwanese opinion towards the dichotomy has largely been close, half and half, so to speak, with the DPP winning slightly over their call to maintain the status quo, while the KMT trails behind with their call for a more peaceful or more towards China stance. But Deutsche Welle, who recently published the interview with the former president Ma Ying-jeou, it might have changed that 3 days before the election. Mao was the president under the KMT from 2008 to 2016, and that was a period when China's relationship with the world has not yet soured fully. And it was during this time his administration made multiple concessions to the mainland in hopes that the Taiwanese businesses could thrive on the mainland as well as keeping peace with the invasion. But Taiwanese merchants continue to receive suboptimal treatments in China's business environment, while the military was continuing to build up, and the preparation for war continued with no hesitation. Ma's two terms were seen as the closest to the mainland in a very long time, prompting to even protests over his warm stance with Beijing. In 2015, he met Xi Jinping the year before he left office in Singapore and shook and held his hand for 10 plus seconds. And then again last year, he met with Xi Jinping in spring of 2023. His answers during the interview, when asked about whether or not they could trust Xi Jinping when it comes to the cross-strait relationship, Ma replied, quote, "We must trust Xi Jinping in the cross-strait relations." And he says that to avoid a war, we have to discuss and talk it out with Beijing, that Taiwan will never win against China's massive army.
Is Xi Jinping a dictator, as Joe Biden says? Is Xi Jinping a dictator, as Joe Biden put it that way?
Well, it depends on how you define it, but that term doesn't mean not very important in the cross-strait relations, because we have to create a situation that we can deal with each other peacefully.
And he also says that Lai Ching-te, the DPP presidential candidate's last name, Lai, is the same as Lai, like L-I-E. And his core argument in this interview is that it is inevitable that the CCP will reunify with Taiwan, but it will take decades, not 10 to 20 years. And then saying that they must do so peacefully, and if they do it peacefully, the people in Taiwan will agree to follow. He doesn't also think that Xi Jinping is pushing for unification. If there is one supplement you want to get incorporated into your diet, it's a good omega-3 supplement. It's the best all-around defender for your health. It reduces inflammation, cholesterol, improves eyesight, and reduces risk for heart problems, as well as helps with joint pain, among other benefits. Today, I want to introduce you to Puritan's green vegetables. Puritan gets their ingredients straight from the high mountains of South Korea, and the omega oils are extracted from purslane and perilla seeds. It's 100% vegan. Now, personally, I've been using Omega for about 9 years, close to 10 years now. I've recently switched to Puritan for about a few weeks now. Here's why. We mostly get our Omegas from fish, right? But that's not the best case for everyone, especially there's the aftertaste. It might not be suitable for vegetarians or vegan. So the most important part, right, we often forget is the actual concentration for Omegas. Puritan soft gels have a much higher content for Omega-3, 6, 7, and 9 than many of the brands out there. And some say that they notice there's less hair loss, more energy, lower cholesterol levels, and overall improved health. I think the best part for me is the lack of inflammation or the reduction of inflammation. Other brands also they use this high heat method to extract the oil, which in turn creates a lot of harmful byproducts. Puritan's green vegetable is done using a patented method of supercritical carbon dioxide low temperature extraction, so it preserves the natural properties and maintains high purities. First of its kind. So get it for yourself or as a gift to your loved ones ahead of the holiday season. Use my code DZ2023 and you can receive free shipping globally. Check out my link in the description and comment today. Ma Ying-jeou is using 2010 arguments to try to justify a 2024 world. Today's China, under the CCP, is no longer the hiding behind their masks and secretly plotting their rise. Today's China is openly trying to cause major geopolitical shifts around the world. They're rallying with Russia, Iran, North Korea to usurp the world order, and no matter who wins on January 13th in Taiwan, Xi's agenda to invade Taiwan will go on. The only thing that's stopping him right now is domestic troubles. So it's up to the free world to amplify these troubles to the economy, the social issues, and to provide support for Taiwan. And that's really what's going to stop China's invasion plan. But what do we know? Xi Jinping has only repeated so many times recently, reiterated that he wants to take Taiwan one way or another. And he will do it still in power. His recent speech during the New Year's talks about reunification. His talk with Biden talks about reunification. In every instance so far, he's talked about unification. Well, first of all, let me just say this, right? I'm not pro any party in Taiwan. I'm not even Taiwanese, so I can't vote or anything like that. But I just want the people in Taiwan to not end up like the people of Hong Kong. Hong Kongers who were promised 50 years of freedom, only to have it taken away from them because a small group of people in Hong Kong were too afraid to stand up to the CCP. Having a defeatist mindset right now is the last thing that should happen in Taiwan. Having elections itself is already a pro-independence move. So I'm not really sure with this idea or this argument about how one party is more pro-independence, when in fact the very democratic system of Taiwan is already breaking the status quo. And of course, the term dictator matters too. Do the people in Taiwan want to live in a democratic system where they get to elect their president, or a totalitarian system where they go to a rubber stamp voting system to choose their leader? To me, it sounds like a certain group of people here would rather be provincial ministers or party officials of the CCP rather than being leaders in a free and democratic Taiwan. Ma says the to trust Xi Jinping idea is really just to trust the Communist Party. Now, during the civil war between the Nationalists or the KMT and the Communist Party, KMT and the Communist Party had 2 peace talks, and the eventual result was that the KMT trusting the Communist Party and then getting driven out of power by the CCP with guns and artilleries, which then eventually was forced to flee to Taiwan. If it weren't for US military protection, the KMT might have ceased to exist now. So the lesson here is to never trust the communists. Also, there is a lesson closer to our memory as well. Like I said, Hong Kong. What's really the lesson of Hong Kong? Well, it is that you give the CCP an inch by backing off, allowing them to incorporate more into the legislature, the more they're going to ask for. Then eventually it was 2019, the total police state coming down on the protesters. Was that really what was building up to? This idea that if you give them what they want, just a little bit, they will back off and not ask for more. No, the opposite happened. But the CCP doesn't do what they say, right? They instead ask for more. When you extract promises from them, they say, okay, we'll do that. But in reality, they never do it. And so what you need to do is start to take a stance and then actually stand up against them. It's like bullying. That no matter what, they sense weakness. they thrive on coercion and self-blames. And that's exactly what the KMT is doing right now. Or at least Ma Ying-jeou is doing this. He's blaming Taiwan and the people in Taiwan for choosing to want to be Taiwanese rather than a province of the mainland. And they're saying these people are the agitators. That idea itself, that Taiwan has an aggressive pro-independence force at play, is purely a disinformation campaign from the mainland. They're discouraging the Taiwanese people from fighting for their vision of the future. And they're saying that let's just lay down our fighting will, lay down our weapon, get ready for the eventual outcome. There's no change in the making. Look at Ukraine. Look at the people of Hong Kong. Those that actually fought for their sovereignty or in the process of still fighting for it, they gained international recognition for it. And here we have people in Taiwan saying, nah, just give up. It's just that not going to work out for the people in the end. So let's just do whatever they say. We'll negotiate. How is that not a CCP infiltration? What happened in Ukraine? What if they just did, give up on fighting on day one and said, we can never win against Russia's much bigger army, we should just stop? And obviously, they would not have received any international support, knowing that the fact that the will of the people at the time was to just give up fighting. Objectively speaking, this, of course, is a huge boost to the electoral stage of the DPP, right? Lai Ching-te, who's riding on the promise to continue under President Tsai Ing-wen the current relationship with the U.S., with the rest of the world, and to maintain Taiwan's fight against China, is, I'm questioning, is Ma Ying-jeou secretly trying to help the DPP win? DPP presidential candidate Lai Ching-te had pointed out at a campaign party today, said that this election is not only a choice between trusting Taiwan and trusting Xi Jinping, but also a choice between accepting one China and moving toward a democratic world. Now, also in response to the interview, the spokesperson for the Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, today said they're surprised that this is the former president of Taiwan, the Republic of China. He's very unqualified. Not only did he say that we must believe Xi Jinping, he also uses the name of Lai Ching-te, the chairman of the Democratic Progressive Party, joking to foreign media as Lai, again, L-I-E, while also advocating for unification, which is extremely outrageous. He called on Hou You-yi, who is the current candidate for the KMT, to express his stance immediately. Does he believe in Xi Jinping as much as Ma Ying-jeou? Now, of course, the KMT's line has always been pretty close to China, but the presidential candidate Hou You-yi today says that they have a different stance than what Ma Ying-jeou is saying. And his running mate is also saying that they have different views than Ma, saying that it's too early to talk about unification. Of course, everybody knows that what Ma Ying-jeou said in the interview is like helping to add to their chance to win the election, of course, talking about the DPP. But, if they don't cut away from that, they're going to lose the election for the KMT. And of course, those people, the voters who are on the fence, undecided, may actually change their mind after hearing this interview. But this is similar to the line of the KMT leadership for a very long time. They think that being pro-China, like those in Hong Kong, to talk with China. But the history has shown us that China isn't the one to maintain their promises. Now, in the interview as well, the reporter at the end asked a question, which I thought was interesting. They're saying that why not just ask Beijing to promise that they won't use force? To which President Ma replied, China won't give up using force. And his solution is to continue to talk with them. So the use of force is the last resort. Again, I'm asking everyone to look at Hong Kong. By the time 2019 comes around, the use of force was in full swing. But if you think that somehow the CCP will not use force in the end, that's just wishful thinking. So the question is, how do we avoid Taiwan experiencing what happened in Hong Kong and what the Hong Kongers went through? Well, you first have to start out strong. You have to show strength against a bully. Tell them that there are consequences of acting this way, and that this comes with the support from countries like the United States, who currently has a bipartisan support for Taiwan, from Japan, the Philippines, Australia, and others who are on board to preserve the status quo in Taiwan. There's no reason for such lines of thinking to exist in Taiwan that we're doomed and that we should just give up. And I think that's the reality, because fundamentally the problem isn't the democratic system of Taiwan, but rather the aggressor, that is the CCP, who's trying to stamp out the freedom fire that is burning inside the island. So we'll leave it there, and we'll see how it goes. Remember to join us for the live stream covering the Taiwan elections on January 13th, 7 a.m. in the morning. That's Saturday, January 13th. We'll be doing, I think, 4 hours talking and just looking at the results and seeing what happens. So until next time, this is China Insider. I'm David Zhang. Hope you enjoy the content. Leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. As always, next time, bye-bye.